All right, we are back for episode 3 of the Daily Grind Golf Podcast. We're going to talk about LIV Golf Mayakoba Round 3, and we're just going to get right into it. It was a great day of golf. There was no PGA Tour. You would think that would theoretically have more eyes on LIV, which would have been a great situation for LIV. I'd love to see what those numbers are. I don't know if I ever get to see that stuff, but just was interesting to have the first LIV event that was going up against a designated or signature event, and that signature event gets canceled on Sunday, meaning the only golf going on is LIV. And that was pretty interesting, especially that Rahm was 2 strokes back as a leader going into Sunday morning and was going to potentially win this tournament. And it was just a really nice situation for LIV. I'm guessing they were pretty pleased with that whole thing. But let's just start talking golf. So Waco Neiman starts the day, wakes up Sunday morning with a 4-stroke lead over John Rahm and Dean Burmester. I am going to share my screen here, and we're just going to start working our way down the leaderboard. So Waco Neiman wakes up with a 4-stroke lead. He's 13 under. Rahm and Dean Burmester are 9 under. Shortly after that, some rules officials decide to take a look at a drop that he made on Saturday, which was some relief from a cart path or near a cart path or something like that. And it was on 13. And he takes a 2 club length relief from his spot where he was, and it left him on the cart path still. So he then took an additional two club lengths from that spot, but he was only supposed to take 1 club length. And he dropped outside of that additional 1 club length that he was supposed to get because he thought he was supposed to get an additional 2 club lengths. So this was a situation similar to Rory. Waco Neiman and Rory both recently now have had a situation where they were taking relief, but they didn't call in a rules official just to keep things going. They thought they had it under control, and they decided to take the drop, without any interpretation from a rules official. Rules officials reviewed that Sunday morning, decided he would be assessed a 2-stroke penalty. Waco Neiman was told the rules, understood it, agreed with it, took the 2-stroke penalty, and was then going into the day suddenly just 2 strokes ahead of Dean Burmester and John Rahm, and 4 strokes ahead of Sergio, and 6 strokes ahead of Brooks. So suddenly, some of these guys, if Waco Neiman does not play a good round of golf, and it turns out he didn't play a great round of golf, suddenly a lot more guys are in this tournament before they even tee off on Sunday. And then Waco Neiman's first tee shot goes left, really far left. And it's like, wow, we might have a tie here after just 1 hole. That was not the case. But after just 4 holes, we had 4 players all within 1 shot of the top of the leaderboard. It really got tight really quick. But Waco didn't, he did not have a great round. He just played okay enough to not get out of contention. He had a bogey on 3, and then things got really close. He has a birdie on 5, and things were still close, but he had just a littlest bit of a cushion. But Sergio is down the leaderboard just a little bit, birdieing 2, birdieing 5, birdieing 7, coming up and getting closer. And then Waco Neiman, 6 through 11, just plays even par. Saves himself just a little bit on 12 with a birdie, but then bogeys 14 and things are really close again. In the meantime, Sergio is again birdieing 11, but then bogeys 12, but then comes back 14 and 15 with another birdie, and is in the lead after 15. Waco Neiman comes up to 16 and he birdies that to tie Sergio. And Waco Neiman then has 2 holes to hopefully make a birdie and win this tournament outright. But he does not do that. He continues to play just kind of a standard round of golf on 17 and 18, misses a birdie putt on 18, and they end up in a playoff. Sergio Garcia, I wanted to just look at the stats real quick. Make sure you guys are seeing the screen right here, and you are. This is the schedule, but I am looking for the stats. This is a pretty cool little page here. So you can definitely see why Waco Neiman was up on top of the leaderboard. The birdie one, sure, you make more birdies than anybody else, you're going to be pretty close to the leaderboard. But you'll notice here, he's number 3 in fairways hit, which was he was really great driving off the tee. But then also greens and regulation, he did great. He was playing great with his irons. He was putting the ball close to the hole and giving himself a lot of really nice birdie opportunities, and he was making a lot of those putts. So he's 3rd in fairways hit. He's 1st in birdies. He's 1st in greens and regulation. He's 2nd in driving distance. Just a lot of pieces of the puzzle that need to be there for you to play a really good round of golf and win these tournaments. And he is just had a great week. Even though some of the rounds were not great, he was really, really playing some good golf. But then the next down on the leaderboard is Sergio, who is in this playoff. And we'll talk about the playoff in a little bit. But Sergio 1st in scrambling. And what's really interesting about this is that as I was watching Sergio play golf all weekend, he was constantly hitting out of the rough. Really bad driving week. I actually kind of want to see here. Let's look at fairways hit and see where Sergio is. He has got to be way down the list. So here we go. Sergio Garcia tied for 24th. So 43% fairways hit. So kind of in the middle of the pack, but just he was hitting the ball left a lot and having to scramble and get out of the rough, but he was putting the ball on the green. Greens and regulation. Look at that, 3rd, even though he was in the middle of the pack for fairways hit. So he was just saving himself with these shots out of the rough and getting on the green and giving himself looks at birdies and then capitalizing on those birdies. And he ended up having just a great day, 5 under on Sunday to tie Waco Neiman. And then they go to playoff and they go to 18 and they play it and they par it. And then they go again and they par it again. And they go again and they par it again. And then it's dark and they got the lights on around the green. It was a pretty cool scene. But this time, Waco Neiman makes a putt from off the green for a birdie in the playoff to win his first LIV event. If Sergio would have won, would have been his first event, LIV event won. If Ram would have won, it would have been his first LIV event won. It was a really cool ending, and somebody was going to win for the first time. Waco Neiman took it. But let's talk about Ram real quick. 2 unfortunate parts of his rounds were, if you look back at round 1, played a pretty good round of golf, kept himself up near the top of the leaderboard the whole entire week, but birdied 17 and 18. Same exact thing in round 3. He was relatively close. He was flirting with there you go. Flirting with possibly tying the lead, maybe winning this tournament if something happens, but then Sergio ends up at 12 under. Ram comes out, has a pretty lackluster round, birdies 13, 14, 15, par 16, but then bogey 17 and bogeys 18. He said in his post-round interview, he stayed out of the hazards pretty much all week and then ends up in a bunker on 18. Still ends up, with a par putt that it wasn't easy, but it was, a 10 to 15 foot par putt, and he leaves it way short. Something was going on there at the end, just very frustrated with himself, and ends up ending the week with bogey, and a solo third place. But just a couple other guys that I want to mention that kind of shot up the leaderboard on Sunday. The first one being Dustin Johnson, had a 4 under, ended up fifth. But just in general about Dustin, he's just looking good. He looks like he's going to play golf. He looks serious this year. Last year he seemed a little out of shape. This year he just looks like he's back to the Dustin Johnson we know that when he went to LIV, and he looks like he is going to contend, or at least try his darndest to contend in some majors this year. But then also Brooks Koepka, just doing Brooks Koepka stuff. He had just steady good golf, 2 under in round one, 3 under in round two, 3 under in round three, and ended up tied for fifth. But number one, fairways hit. He was struggling with the putter though. He just wasn't making those birdie putts. He wasn't putting the ball real close to the hole, so he was leaving himself with some longer distance birdie putts, and he just wasn't knocking them down. Kind of standard LIV golf for Brooks there, where it's just not the golf you see from Brooks in majors, where he is sinking those putts constantly. But one person I really want to talk about was Terrell Hatton, another new member of Legion 13. The team was just put together, within the last week. Comes out on his first round in round one over, second round 1 under, and then comes out on Sunday and shoots a 7 under. Just a wonderful round of golf, and shot Legion 13 up the team's leaderboard for a Legion 13 team win. And we can talk about that in a little bit too. But John Rahm just played 1 under, but Terrell Hatton playing 7 under. And then we'll notice if we get a little bit further down here, Caleb Surratt playing 4 under today. The two of them combined just rocketed Legion 13 up the leaderboard, and they dominated the team event this week. A couple other guys that are up there on the leaderboard that just played really good golf. Oosthuizen was 4 under. Cam Smith had a great round at 4 under with his surfer eyeglasses on. And then Richard Bland, another 4 under. But this Caleb Surratt round is something that I'd really like to look at. He looked as though he was maybe going to fall apart there for a little bit at the end. However, he proved everybody wrong. So he started on the fifth hole. He had a bogey on 16, then comes out and has a triple bogey on 17. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is not going to end well for him. And he was playing good golf before then. He was 3 under par, and then has a bogey and a triple bogey. But no big deal for Caleb Surratt. He plays 18, he birdies that. Then he has to go back to one. He has to play 1, 2, 3, and 4 still for the end of his round. He birdies 1, he birdies 2, he birdies 3, he birdies 4 for a 4 under, saves the day, helps Legion 13 continue to climb the leaderboard in the team event. He finishes tied for 13th in his first LIV event. It was just really good golf. Had a little bit of a mishap there toward the end of the round and totally turned it back around. He shot 5 under after a bogey and a triple bogey. That was really cool to see. Taylor Gooch is feeling the baby effect, the new baby effect, a little bit earlier in the week, but came out on Sunday, shot 3 under. Really good round of golf there from him. Not great. If he would have shot that all week, it would have been much better, but he did not. Otherwise, who else do we need to talk about here? Some of these other guys just in the middle of the pack. I don't think we need to focus too much on these guys a whole lot. Bryson was doing good. Obviously, number one in driving distance, like usual. Felt like maybe there are a couple other guys I wanted to talk about here. Ian Poulter, he played really well in round two, kind of turned his week around in round two, and then just came out and played even par. But at least he's not at the end of the end of the pack. But then also Lee Westwood right there is his Camp Confidential buddy. Played 2 under, at least saved face just a little bit there on Sunday, and didn't totally screw the pooch there for the whole entire week. Kieran Vincent, just finishing up on like Legion 13 in general. Didn't have a great week. He was 1 over in round one, 4 under in 4 over, excuse me, in round two, but then came out, saved himself a little bit, and played 2 under in round three just to help Legion 13 get another 2 points on the team board, or another 2 under on the team board. But he finished 38th for the week in the individual standings. A couple other guys that kind of went the wrong way on the weekend would be Scott Vincent was one. And then, some of these other guys toward the end of the leaderboard. I don't think a whole lot to talk about there. Phil Mickelson, 51st, 11 over for the week. And then Harold Varner, the third, 6 over on Sunday, 14 over for the week. But let's get into a little bit of the team stuff and see what we got there. See where we're at for time. About 15 minutes in. This is not what I'm looking for. So yeah, I mean, not much else to say about Legion 13 other than I think they're going to do this a lot. I think with Rom and Hatton and Surratt, Vincent, we'll see what Kieran Vincent does after getting on to live through the invitational event. Surratt seems like he's going to play some really good golf. It's nice to have another fresh out of college kid, kind of a comparison to Dunlap, just to see how these guys do their first year. But Legion 13 did great. Big win for Legion 13. Big win for John Rahm. Big win for Liv. That's pretty cool to see that. And then DeChambeau, these guys, DeChambeau didn't play great, but the rest of the team kind of pulled him through, and they were second. Torquay, Neiman obviously did the majority of the work there. They finished 17 under for the week. 12 of those were on the first day from Neiman. But Torquay in third. Cam Smith had some good rounds there toward the end, helped the Ripper GC finish fourth. And I guess what we could talk about here is actually the fact that so this year in all of the events on day 3, all 4 members count toward the team event. Last year, I think it was just during the championship that round 4 counted toward the team event. This year, rounds 1 and 2, you have your best 3 players that count towards teams. And then in round 3, all 4 players count towards the team. So you really just need everyone to play especially well on Sunday. But when it comes to the fact that we now have 13 teams this year, the way that that's going to work is when it comes down to the team championship, the 13th team does not play in the team championship. They're still only going to have 12 teams play in the championship, and the 13th team takes a seat or maybe doesn't take a seat and heads out and tries to find a new job somewhere if they're out of a contract. It'll be interesting to see kind of the ins and the outs every year about who's still in their contract but not playing good, the trades, and what happens to some of these guys when they're in 11th, 12th, 13th place at the end of the year, especially 13th, and they're out of a contract, and if they might have to just fly home. But that's really about all I have to say about the teams as well. Maybe just a couple things that we could talk about is number one, just the slow play, I guess I would say. They do these shotgun starts on LIV to speed up play. The tournament started at noon, and Neiman holed his last putt on 18 at 5 o'clock. So even with the shotgun start, these guys are taking 5 hours to play around the golf. And then when you got a playoff on top of that, that goes 4 holes, it was a very long day of golf. But to play shotgun starts and have it be 5 hours, it just still seems like there's stuff to be done there in terms of slow play. I think a shot clock, and I don't think it should be for everyone in terms of individual people, but I think you put a 15-minute shot clock right underneath. These guys have these big signs that say 18 on the 18th hole and 16 on the 16th hole, big sign there. You put a 15-minute timer on there. And when the last guy tees off, that timer starts counting down, and everybody that's playing that hole is responsible for finishing the hole within 15 minutes. And if not, can have rules officials kind of watching people. This is just something that I thought about in the recent past. Have some rules officials kind of watching and determining who might be slowing play down in that group, give them a warning, maybe give them one more warning, and then assess a 1-stroke penalty or something. We really got to speed this stuff up. But what else? What else? What else? That's really about all I have to say. Upcoming next week is the Las Vegas event. And let's see if we can get to that. So Las Vegas is this next week. It's February 8th through the 10th, which is not Friday through Sunday. That is Thursday through Saturday. So keep that in mind. LIV Golf this week is Thursday through Saturday. That's obviously because of the Super Bowl. So they're not going to compete with the Super Bowl, which is a fantastic idea. And they will be playing golf Thursday through Sunday. But I think that's about all I got. I will be back for round one recap, or if anything's going on between now and Thursday, maybe do a little preview show, a little news update show about what might be going on in LIV Golf news, talk a little bit about Las Vegas, and otherwise we'll do a Friday show for a Thursday round recap. And that's about it. Thank you guys for listening to the Daily Grind Golf Podcast, and we'll see you next time.